Hello everyone! How's everybody doing on this Wednesday night? If you're one of my friends on Facebook, you know that most of my posts have to do with dogs, so went ahead and wore my Border Collie shirt tonight so that I can show my allegiances. We're going to do something unusual tonight. Not that the others haven't been unusual, but what we're going to do tonight is talk about what we do with all those scraps we end up with. And as you guys know, if you've been following, we are getting ready for a stamp camp this weekend. And when we're cutting for a stamp camp, we're cutting for over 40 people, over 40 different sets. And so you end up with a lot of scraps when you do that. So I wanted to share with you some of the ways that you can use those scraps and turn them into something delightful. Because if you're like me, there's a bunch of scraps sitting around just staring at you, waiting to be used. So here we go. We're going to take a look at some ways to use those up. And of course, when you have scraps, your workspace is very messy. Mine is no different. So here we go. I'm going to turn you around and we'll get going. Thanks for joining me. So someday I should show you guys this setup I've got going here, and you can see why it's a little difficult to get everything turned around and make sure I'm in the right direction. But what we're going to do, there are two framelits, and you can do this with any framelits, but there are two framelits in the Stampin' Up! World. One says Happy Birthday, and a new one in the catalog now says thank you. So I'm going to show you how to take some of your scraps and create something amazing. At least I think it's amazing. And then we'll talk about some other options as well. There's this adhesive sheet. Hi Karen, how are you tonight? Yeah, birthday girl recently. So if you're familiar with Sizzix adhesive sheets, we do sell these. Hey Cheryl. And what you can do, I have already cut this to 3.5 inches wide, which is what you need to do either the thank you or the happy birthday. So I've pulled back the liner sheet, and this is sticky. And I'm just going to take some random pieces and lay them down. It actually works better if they're kind of narrow, but they don't have to be. And you're basically creating a whole other piece of paper. So these three pieces seem to go pretty well together. So I'm going to push them down really good. You don't need to do this, but I am going to put the cover sheet back down. But look at where we are now. I could just keep going all the way down this strip, and we could get multiple. Oops, that was bad. So now I need a really teeny tiny piece. And some of the really, really small pieces, you know, we don't hold on to those. At least I don't hold on to them. But every now and then, you end up with something that's just so thin that you can't use it for anything else. So you could put that on here, or when we get done cutting this out, you can also use glitter or these dazzling diamonds, and those will adhere to that as well. So we're going to play around now. What I'm going to do is cut out a happy birthday using this. right, and remember I have the paper at the right width, so I'm just going to put down my happy birthday. I'm going to center it about like that so I can get all the colors in there. You know, I have to be careful to make sure, but like I said, the thinner stripes, or thinner strips, not stripes, work really well for something like this. Hi, Maureen. So because this is a thin die, I am using the base sheet with the thin die adapter. And I'm just going to stick it in here. Now you see what happened to me there? I made it too wide, but the benefit of this, it was just a scrap anyway, so it doesn't really matter, right? So here we go. So you don't have to be traumatized by cutting up your designer series paper because it's already a scrap. And speaking of designer series paper, did you guys take a look at that deal we got going on? Buy 3, get 1 free. If you haven't seen it yet, you can go check it out. Lots of places on my Facebook as well as my website. Now you'll notice here a couple of weeks ago I was talking about when you use an intricate die, one of the things you want to do is turn it over and make sure everything's cut before you start taking it out. Because if you leave it in place, you can run it numerous times back and forth until you really feel like it's cut all the way through. And remember now, we're cutting through designer paper, adhesive sheet, and the backing on that adhesive sheet. So here we go. And of course it's stuck. But you can see that it's a little more detailed now. And when I punch this out, whatever method we all use to punch things out, I should sing a little song right now, but everybody who knows me knows that's not a good idea because you would probably sign off right away. So I think you get the idea. And then the other thing that happens, I assume it happens with everyone, not just me, is you end up with lots of card bases that you never actually use. You know, because you take a piece of 8.5 by 11 and you cut it in half to make your card, your base, but you're only making one card. So then all of a sudden you got this stuff hanging around on you. Now this is not a good color combination, as you can see, but I just want to get the idea across that now this happy birthday has adhesive all along the back, so you don't have to mess with glue or anything like that. You just peel off the backing. I know you're thinking, she says that like it's no big deal. You do have to work with it. And it's a lot easier than if nobody was watching me, I would already have it off. Oh no, I just lost my Y. So you want to be careful when you pull this all off to not do what I just did. Because what you've basically done is created a striped designer series paper. So you very gently, I will show you what I'm doing, not intentionally trying to hide, but you're going to pull it off. It normally would stay together. And I have no idea what letters those are. But you get the idea. You pull it off of here, and because it already has adhesive on all the letters, all you have to do is put it down on your card, and you've got a card. Put it down on your card base, rather, and you've got a card. Yeah, this isn't going very well, huh? But you see what I mean. The happy would go there, and then the birthday down here at the bottom. So don't be discouraged by what you're seeing here. This actually does work. Doesn't it, Maureen? Maureen can attest that it does actually work. She's done it before. So if we had the whole thing, we would have our happy birthday. Hey, Katie. We would have our happy birthday going across the card. And we didn't have to mess with glue or anything like that. So let's do another quick one. And what I'll do is use smaller strips. And this time, I think I'll make it a Christmas card. Or a holiday card. Whatever the rules are these days. So you take your sheet. Once again, this time we'll do a thank you. Like for a Christmas present or something. So we'll peel back. And this time I'm going to cut some of the paper into smaller pieces so we can truly get the, you know, the concept of using up your scraps, because that's what we're talking about today. Okay, so here we go again. Now I went back into my box of many scraps and found some holiday paper. This particular one is sheet music. So I want to be careful and make sure I don't make the words upside down. That's the type of thing that I would do. So here we go. We have our adhesive sheet. I'm going to put this down with the words going in the right direction. This time I'm going to tear it off, use the back side on either side of it, because it's all musical paper, front and back. This is an old set, of course. Then I think I found some silver paper, maybe. I found all sorts of things just hanging around in my stash. So that's what you want to do. You want to kind of go through there, find out if there's anything that's just waiting to be used up. I have another one here that's other words, but still the same black and white. And music again. This would be a great one. Christmas trees on one side and this red on the other. Technically cherry cobbler, I believe. But anyway, so now we'll take this one, making sure the words are the right side up, and do the same idea. And then this time we'll cut out a thank you. So I'm going to adhere this down really good. Hopefully it'll come off a lot easier than the happy birthday did. But like I said, this is a new Thinlit, a new thank you Thinlit. Oh, there it is. Thank you. So I'm going to run this through again. I could go up and down, you know, whatever you're looking for. This I probably would put on a white layer and then put it on a black card base. So I'm going to run it through like this. But this time I am going to go ahead and cut off the excess down here. So here we go. Same big shot setup because it's still a Thinlit. Oh, a little wobbly there. Told you, the desk gets messy when you're getting ready for stamp camp. Actually, I shouldn't blame stamp camp. Mine gets dirty no matter what day I'm doing it. See, Maureen says it works. We can trust Maureen. I do have to admit, this is the first time I've used this particular Thinlit, so I'm not really sure how easily it cuts. So I just want to be extra careful so you don't have to sit here and watch me keep going back and forth, because that doesn't make for good TV. So now we have the thank you. Once again, you're going to punch out the pieces. We do sell a brush that comes with a foam pad that you can use to do this. paper piercing tool works pretty good for me. Now the paper piercing tool does come with a foam mat, so if you don't like holding things up in your hand, or maybe you just can't, maybe you can't hold things for a long time like this, then you can use this foam and poke through and save your table. So we're going to poke through some of these holes. Hopefully this time it'll come through a little easier. But you can see, obviously, where the thank you is going to be. Now, had I been working on an actual card, an actual card, I would have already cut the base to be the size I need. My K is getting a little wonky. I think we can fix that though. Okay. So like I said, a white piece will probably be this particular layer. Okay, don't be discouraged by me. I will do a video where this actually works and you don't have to piece it back together. And of course the reason it's doing that is because we've used multiple papers. So it's getting confused about what it's supposed to do. But nevertheless, you get the idea. I would now have, I might as well tear this off. I would now have my thank you, and I could put that on a white background and then mount it on a piece of black cardstock, and it would be stunning. Believe it or not, it really would be stunning. Works really well with the metallic sheets as well. That's always kind of fun. I did not find metallic scrap that was large enough, but I will do a single sheet so you can see what I'm talking about. So this obviously is not big enough to do this, but if you just wanted the word you, let's say. So let's say you have a different stamp for the thank, and so you don't need a full piece. You just need the piece, excuse me, that will have the word thank on it. Okay. My director's upstairs, so he can't help me find my missing parts here. Okay. Hold on. There it is. All right, so I just want the word you. So this is the champagne foil paper. So once again, this was a scrap. The foil papers are a little bit more expensive than some of the other papers, so I think we all feel obligated to not waste it. You'll need to cut it apart right there because they are connected in the die, of course. Whoops, throwing things around. So you would just take your paper snips, which I have magnetically attached up there, and you can either have this swirly, so I can cut it this way and get the whole swirl like so, or you could cut it off at the end of the U. So now we have the word you, and of course we have numerous thanks stamps and things like that, or thank. We also have a really cool framelit, thinlet, that says amazing. So that would be kind of fun to take something like this and put an amazing with it and say amazing you. I'm not hiding from you guys, I'm just holding it closer in my old eyes. My very old eyes. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time with this tonight. But it really does pull off. It really does look nice. And you don't have to get glue on anything. The foil sheets are notorious for getting glue on them, and then it ruins the sheen. So not having to put glue on a foil sheet is a good thing. Does anybody know any Christmas songs? Maybe some summer songs? Okay, at the risk of everybody dropping off to sleep, that is, or off of Facebook, I'm going to let you just trust me that this does work, that if I were being more careful and I was not being watched by people, it really does work. And I will post some cards that actually have it going on. Things like this, You Are My Sunshine. You want me to start singing that? Something like this snowflake is also an excellent item for using the adhesive sheets. So you can see all around the table here are all my scraps from various projects getting ready for Stamp Camp. Stamp Camp is going to be a lot of fun this time. It is going to have a summer theme, a nice refreshing lunch, all those good things. So hopefully next time around you guys can come along. If anybody has any questions, just shout them out. If you'd like me to do another sample, I would be happy to do that. Once again, these are great shapes right here. I can very easily turn this into a card. The 6x6 papers you tend to end up with some larger scraps. So in this particular case, this is a pretty good size scrap because we made that card a couple weeks ago that used up most of the 6x6. This is the card, if you remember correctly. Ta-da! So I can take this. I would probably suggest doing this over, I don't know, a placemat, something that you're not worried about cleaning up later, unlike your workspace. So I'm just going to put a piece of tear and tape across there. I'm going to put down these two pieces. If you noticed, I keep losing my paper piercing tool. So this is how easy you can just come up with a card on the fly using your scraps. So I'm going to put this one here, and I can trim this later once I know exactly what I'm going to do with it. Going to do, not gonna. Oops. Okay. Then, if I peel up the backing on the tear and tape that I put down the center, what I'm going to create, like we talked about earlier, is a line of adhesive. Oh, am I off screen? Sorry. A line of adhesive once again, this is sticky, and you can use glitter, you can use pretty much anything. You could put ribbon across that, you could use beads, you could use anything really, and it will stick to it. Like I said, I'm about to make a mess on my entire workspace, but hey, I'm happy to make the sacrifice so you can see this amazing. And you can see how the dazzling diamonds sort of picked up a blue hue. They didn't really, it just gives that impression. So now I would probably cut this into maybe an oval or a smaller rectangle and use this as a layer, probably on another Mango Melody card back. So all these adhesives can be used for all sorts of other things besides just putting the paper down. Okay. Anything else, guys? I actually like this. Somebody online may get this card if I have your address. Okay. Well, wish everybody luck on Saturday for Stamp Camp. And I will see you guys next week. And have a great week. And check out my YouTube channel. I'm going to be putting more things out there. So as you know, we're kind of just ramping up here. And I'm glad you're along for the ride. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening.